Just get into it. There we are. Jamie Kennedy, Melissa McQueen, and Christina Walkinshaw in the house. Sit Down Zumock podcast. Thanks for coming, guys.
So Chad, just want to start off by saying, Chad's like, bro, can you do my podcast? Can you do my podcast? I was like, yes. And he's like, all right. I'm gonna invite Melissa too. Like 2 days later, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I get here, Christina Walkinshaw is here. She's like, can you do my? I'm also gonna invite Danny Woodburn. Can he? I mean, like, are you scared that just to sit in a room with me alone? I mean, thank God I love them. This could have been very weird. I was like, you want to do my podcast? I'm gonna invite 16 more people to ask you about your career.
Well, I thought it'd be like a good vibe.
I get weird by group podcasts, but Walkinshaw is, I like that about her, that she knows that, so we're all aware of this.
I'm very aware there's too many people on this podcast, and I will shut down and shut up.
I am trusting you.
Me too.
So it's great that Melissa's here because she's equally as paranoid as me, because everything you say is gone forever now. And so I've done podcasts a lot lately. By the way, podcasts are the new Love Boat episode. Remember how you would see?
Yes.
And I do every one now because I'm lucky. People ask me. And I really love you, dude, and you're fucking great. And we'll get into that. But
were you ever on the Love Boat, by the way?
I was a little young. Stop it. So, but Melissa probably would be like me because I get scared to do podcasts with groups because I don't want to be in trouble by collateral damage, and you know what that is.
Oh yeah.
People say weird shit and. So anyway, it's a good group.
I'm more scared of it being like The View, where we're all going to talk at the same time, and it's going to be annoying to the listener.
Yeah, I hate that.
Talking to your microphone.
I hate that.
I think we're off to a great start.
Okay.
And the reason why I wanted this group here is because she's my first, she got me into stand-up comedy.
Oh.
Well, that's not true. So we worked at a restaurant in Beverly Hills a long time ago, and in fact, Jamie came in one day. There's so many people on the podcast, I have to use names. But when you started work at that restaurant,
this was like 2005.
Yeah, you were like, I was training you on how to serve. That took some work. Oh my God,
that was terrible.
Oh my God, you were awful. And then I remember you being like, "Yeah, I'm a comedian," and I was like, "What?" Because at the time I was obviously we were doing lots of comedy. We were around the Comedy Store and the Laugh Factory. And I'd just never seen you before, so I didn't believe that you were a comedian.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
I know. But now, obviously, Chad is huge, and he's made a huge name for himself. But I remember him when he just said he was a comedian.
Because we ran a room in Beverly Hills together.
We sure did. We did that after you started that job.
Yeah. And then I met Melissa through you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we were coworkers at one point.
Yeah, Barney's Beanery, and then you got fired like 2
Yeah.
days later.
That's my bad training skills, I guess.
I couldn't train him either.
Chad Zumock is untrainable.
Seriously.
Wait, what restaurant was this?
Okay,
Barney's in Pasadena.
No, Christina.
RJ's in Beverly Hills, so
And you
it doesn't
came in.
exist anymore. It was like Beverly Wilshire. You came in once and you wanted to modify a meal, and you were really sensitive about it. You were like, "Is it okay if I get that on the side? Though I feel bad." And I was like, "That's exactly how I would order something if I had to modify it."
Yeah, it gets intense.
It's very tender. He's like, I feel it was like, "Can I get the buffalo chicken wrap? Can I get the ranch on the side?" Or like something like that. When people suck all their spit back down their throat.
And this was Jamie when he was in his Scream days.
No, I think it was. That might have been Malibu days.
I think it was. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was.
Wow. So I was sweet then.
Yeah, you were very sweet. You're very nice.
Thank you. I have a question about that.
Okay.
About the waiting. Wait, I have a new joke about waiters.
Oh, okay.
waitresses.
All right.
So I always tell everybody that, like, I think customer service is gone. Do you agree with that?
I mean, I was always really good at it. I feel like if you're going to be, I think that work ethic is work ethic. And then if you're good at one thing, your work ethic should stay the same. So if you want to be a great comic, I think you should be a good server too.
So let's say it's 8 a.m. and I go to Toast on Beverly.
Yeah.
Or 3rd, wherever it is. And I say, can I have 2 poached eggs, turkey bacon, side of avocado, gluten-free toast, coffee, almond milk on the side.
Sure.
All right. And what happens after that?
I go, yeah, that's no problem.
Thank you. This is what I usually get. Okay, let me run that back for you. So, no! It's out of my head. I don't remember what the fuck I ordered. It's your responsibility. And then they go, no, sir, we don't want to get in trouble. Do you agree that once it's out of my head, it's your responsibility?
I do. No, I think that's a good server if she's repeating your order back to you.
Yeah.
No
They
way.
Just want to make
No
sure.
way.
Because it's better for...
No, because you guys do it because you don't want to get in trouble. It's
No,
your
because we don't want the
responsibility.
food to come to the table and it be wrong.
I know, but here's what's great, Christina. You're not a server anymore.
I know,
So
thank
you're
God.
out of that world. Stop it.
Full
You're still like PTSD.
I know I do. I still have server mares. I still
So
have
do I,
nightmares
so
where I
do
have
I.
infinity section, and I'm not a server anymore. I'm showing gratitude for that.
Dude, you were like, you would work it though. Like I remember when who was the old owner of the Clippers, the racist.
Donald Sterling.
Yeah, he came in and he gave you tickets to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was serving him one day, and I was just like, we got a lot of famous people in that restaurant. We really
Thank you.
did.
She pointed to me.
I did. I found Jamie. But when I was serving him, I just went back to the table, and I was just like, just so you know, I'm a big fan. I have a big game appreciation package, and no, I have the big game package and the fan appreciation package. This is for the Clippers. This is mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Before it was cool to like the Clippers.
Yeah, totally.
And I was like, even when that man over there made fun of me for liking the Clippers, I stuck by them, and now everybody's eating their words. And he was like, where are you from? And I was like, I'm from Canada. And he's like, and you know who I am? And I was like, yeah, I read your credit card. That's a dirty thing that servers do in LA. We read people's credit cards, and then we know who you are.
Ooh.
And then he was like, and they know who the Clippers are in Canada? And then he gave me tickets to a Knicks game that night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
I wonder why he liked me so much.
Wow.
The blue eyes, the blonde hair.
They love you,
white skin.
Walkinshaws.
I don't know what it was.
So how did you and Jamie meet, Melissa? Since you guys are good friends.
I was writing on a roast show, the MLB roast show,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the roast master. and
Major
I-
League Baseball roast?
Yeah. Of Steve Garvey.
Steve Garvey. How do you become the roast master of Steve Garvey, Jamie Kennedy?
Some guy, I forget, I liked him. He was a real entrepreneur, and he was going to do like MTV Rock and Jock, but for MLB. So he's like, he offered me a good amount of money, and he's like, let's do a roast. And it was All-Star Weekend in San Diego.
Oh.
And it was really Dave Winfield
Oh yeah, Dave.
and Steve Garvey.
Yeah.
And so I met her husband, and I knew who he was once I saw him, and I never met you. And they came to my house, and we shot a skit, and it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And the husband directed, she wrote it, and they were like the producing whirlwind team, and I loved it. And then she's like, I have a friend, and you should come and do his show.
Brian Monarch.
And then she put me on Brian's show, and then we started, and it was such a great experience. So I said, "Do you want to?" And at the time, my opener got arrested,
Oh.
so I needed a new opener.
Yeah.
So
And I had asked you, and you said, no, I have an opener.
Yes.
And then he got arrested.
And then
'cause
he
I
got
made that
arrested.
happen.
Did you-
Yeah.
Did you
I
get
called
them
it a favor.
arrested?
I did. I called it a
You
favor.
manifested that guy getting arrested.
And he was also a ginger, so it was like one with the other.
Just swap it out.
Swap it out.
And no one even noticed.
Was it Steve Hofstetter?
No, I just love Steve.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I was always curious about that.
So then we just started going on the road together.
Oh.
And it's a good compliment. Although she's been too busy lately and she has certain demands I have to meet. But,
Ooh. Like a writer?
well, it's good. She's moving up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's like, say if you bring an opener, you have to like make sure you get them because it's a lot of money to travel for people. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
they have to make sure they're paid a good amount. But she's done a lot of gigs with me.
Did you ever open for anyone, or did you just go straight headliner?
No. Long story short, I did comedy from 90 to 94. Pretty much open micers.
Yeah.
I was just open micing it, waiting at the factory, doing all improv. I used to do this whole story about how I got into the improv and 3rd Street Promenade. Gene Pompana showed me what a sign-in sheet was. It was like, it's a long story, but it was great. And so I did that, and then I started getting busy as an actor, and I equate the improv and the factory, really, and that's where I played the most, and the store sometimes potluck, but that agent saw me, and when I started, that whole came out of those 2 clubs. It was like where you would go on. And
That's back when you can be discovered.
Well, it was like when you would. I was telling somebody the other day who's like a really good. They were like, I'm like, you're a working comic. I'm like, when are you gonna get showcase spots? Because there used to be 2 or 3 nights a week. Ryan Dune. I was like, dude, improv would have 2 showcases a week. The factory would have 2 showcases a week. And you would come in, and one time I was doing a showcase, and it was for Janine Garofalo's show to get on, and I got bumped by Rodney Dangerfield. And they still had a showcase.
Wow.
And the improv did it again, and I got bumped by Adam Sandler. And this is like so you huge stars, and you were still showcasing. Yeah. And now I feel like the clubs is like, mostly a lot of names, and people got to fight. You know what I'm saying? So they was constantly looking who's new.
Yeah.
So long story short is then I got very busy for an actor about 5 years, and then it's like I got at my agent's like, people really want you to do stand up, and I only had maybe 14 minutes, and I had a couple of TV spots where I did like a couple of 5-minuters, and then Craig Shoemaker was in
The Love Maker?
Yeah, the Love Maker. He was in Scream 2, and he's like, come down.
Was he in Scream 2?
Yeah, he's the professor, and he's like, get your confidence, come down to Hermosa Beach, open for him a couple times in the Magic Club. Then Saget's like, come down, open for me in Irvine. Then Rick Overton's like, open for me in Ontario. So I had really wonderful guys who I had known,
Yeah.
and they let me do 15, 20. And then I started middling. So do you remember Heath Heitch?
Yeah, I remember that name.
Seems like there used to be a lot of men in comedy.
SJW.
Seems like it.
Wait, I gotta tell you about that last night. So then I was middling, and that's where I went to Tempe. One of my two first gigs was I middled. I forget who the host was, and I was opening for Gary Valentine, Kevin James' brother, and he would do like hour and a half and murder it at Dallas, and we would do 3 shows. And then I opened for Heath Heitch at Tempe, and Nick Swartzen was the opener. And he would murder as the host. And he would and I'm like, how am I going to follow the host?
Yeah.
And then he would every show, he'd be like, yeah, dude, try this tag, hurry up, do it. And I'm like, who the fuck? He was like, just try the fucking joke. And I would do it and would murder. I'm like, dude, you're really good. He's like, yeah, okay. He's like, let's have a beer. So I have a beer. You write me another joke.
And he's like, let's have 20, Nick.
By the end of my fucking show, I had 8 new minutes. Yes, exactly. And he's like,
Is that how you met Swartzen?
Yes. He's like, meet me at Einstein Bagel tomorrow. I'll have 4 fucking jokes for you. And that's he was 20, and he just was fucking totally tagging up my act. And he was like, pff, and then I did a bunch of gigs with him.
Yeah.
He's the best. I love him.
No, I heard when Swartzen came on the scene, it was just undeniable. Everyone was just
Completely.
right out of the gate. Everyone's saying how fucking brilliant he was.
He was probably 21 years old, doing 11 minutes at Tempe when it was packed every show in the late 90s, and murdering it. Almost standing ovations
Jesus
for a host.
Yeah.
And it was really, and I was at red hot heat of Scream 2 and Scream, and I was nervous.
Wow.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's it was undeniable.
Jeez. I still go in the room to watch Nick. He's so silly and stupid. It makes me laugh so hard.
I'm sure he likes to hear that.
I mean, in a good way. It's like,
I love it. I love him. He's hilarious. And it's fun. We see him at Barney's sometimes.
Oh yeah.
You there having some beers?
he was just there last Wednesday. He was there. I still can't go into Barney's without looking for you.
I know.
It's like I go to a comedy
Yeah.
store. I still look for Brody on the lineup.
Yeah.
It's a part of me knowing you. So
Yeah. Wow.
yeah.
I'm out. I know I should.
You
say
were
something
talking
about
about the male comic thing.
I know. I couldn't help but notice so many male headliners.
Is that
in your story.
is that a thing?
What was that?
Somebody was texted last night to the show that I was on, and they were like, "I hope the special guest is a woman." And there was a special guest on the show that was a woman. And then the guy who was running the show said, "Police somebody else's lineup."
Oh wow!
Oh.
I know people do like to fight about it a lot online, but there are so many funny women. I mean,
Okay, go ahead.
Do you know what kind of makes me sad though is I don't know a lot of stories of women helping other women.
Yeah, that's true.
This just took a turn.
I know.
This became
Like
the
we
View.
we open for each other on the road. Like I'll bring
yeah.
her, she brings me, and I always ask for other women. But
Well, you guys
I
are
don't
best
know a lot.
friends.
Yeah.
we are. That's the thing. I'll do. I was saying this on the way here. Not that I was saying that I don't love being a guest on podcasts, but I'm like, I would do anything in the world as long as it was with Melissa McQueen. Does that make sense?
Oh.
I could be going to do the shittiest thing alive, but I'll go if Melissa's going.
That's
you know
how
what I mean?
I
It doesn't
feel,
need
too.
to be,
That's how we go to all of our friends' weddings.
Really?
Yeah, pretty much.
Would you go to a white supremacist march with Melissa?
Well, I don't think either one of us would.
Yeah,
we would.
yeah,
No. That's what happened.
I love that you looked to make sure. I was like, no.
We're not, right?
Well, why is that a thing in comedy? Why can't comedy just be funny? It doesn't matter who you are, what gender, what race. Who's funny's funny, right?
That's true, but it has been a boys' club for a long time. But I have to say this: when I first started doing comedy, I feel like I actually did get a lot of opportunities because I was a funny woman. Like I remember Howard in Ottawa, he would be like, "No, I want funny women." Like I don't think a lot of females were doing comedy in Ottawa in the late '90s when I started. There was like 3 of us, but I never saw anybody else entering the club and trying either.
Yeah.
So
So I think statistically, it's just
But now-
there's just
now-
more men
yeah.
in general.
What? Oh, what? Say that again.
There's more men in like comedy in general. I think statistically.
Yeah, I guess maybe we just weren't interested in comedy. Now I feel like comedy's booming. Now I feel like comics today, you can like study comedy. You can go on YouTube and just go down a rabbit hole of watching people's videos and teach yourself how to do stand up. And yeah, you're probably not being authentic or creating your own voice, but you're definitely impersonating what you like that you find. But when I started comedy, I had no access to stand up. Like if I didn't go down to Yuck Yucks and watch it live, I didn't have any access to it. Like other than maybe like watching a Bob Hope special.
Yeah.
As a kid with my dad. Like I really had to figure it out on my own.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's like no school for it. You just got to do it. you
Yeah,
know?
but now I feel like there is a school because now I feel like kids just go on YouTube and they watch like thousands of videos until they figure
Right.
out how to do
Yeah.
it.
Jamie, where are you from?
Philly.
Oh, I knew that. I knew
I'm from
that.
Philly.
Okay. When did you move out to L.A.?
19.
Oh,
He's a time traveler.
1989. 1989. Right when I was 19.
okay.
Yes, why? Why is this so funny?
So,
19.
what was your like first big break for you that you thought, wow, this is gonna happen?
But it's not really like, Bono always says it's not like one break. It's like
Yeah.
a series of little breaks. So I feel like that. One of my first taped things I got on tape was, remember, "You've been hurt." Remember
Yeah.
that? So I was a guy that was like, like the neck.
The lawyers.
Yes.
Yes.
I was the guy that got hit in a car. And I made $200.
And you're like, that's it. This is
So
it.
I was like, so that was a non-union, easy to break into, local, like Larry H. Parker. You've been hurt, and they needed somebody to go. So I did that, and I had a roommate, and he was it was a big stand-in. He was Woody Harrelson stand-in on Cheers.
Oh.
That's how bad. And he was like, and he got me a non-union agent. So I did that. But my first breaky was probably by a female comic.
All
and
right.
There was 5 people to test for El Pollo Loco. And there was like 5 different comics, men and women, to be the spokesperson. Did a tape. They saw us at the Laugh Factory and picked us. Did a tape. None of us got picked, and then they picked 2 more of us to do the same tape for Vans. It was an advertising agency.
Vans shoes?
Yeah. I did the test tape, and they said if you do good on the tape, you'll get the audition. The tape, they did the tape, and Vans is locally owned by a dude in Orange County, and he goes, well, why don't you just hire that dude? And it was like the test tape became, and he's like, just here's the budget, give the guy. And I made $6,000, which was a lot of money, still a lot of money. Yeah. And I went, and all the commercials, I did 3 commercials. I was the Vans spokesperson for like the summer. And the commercials ran all the time on MTV. So then
cool.
I got a commercial agent, and they were like, yo, this is the Vans spokesperson, which I really wasn't.
Yeah.
And then, boom, and then that really helped me. Then I got more showcases, and I got guest spots on TV shows, and it started working. But I had to, that's when, by 94.
Was that your in at MTV for your TV show?
My first pilot I did was in 94. It did not go. And then I had a second show. That was just because I've done a lot of other stuff before that. But yeah, that first time was MTV.
I forgot how, that was so influential. I would watch it, because I was into sketch comedy.
You're talking about the Experiment.
Yeah, the Experiment.
That was a WB, yeah.
Was that WB?
That was WB.
Okay. It's all blending together. But I originally started, doing sketch and stuff. That was I love Kids in the Hall and SCTV. But I remember loving that show.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. I mean, it was like, I did I'm sure all the same path that these guys do. I know Melissa for sure is it's like she's like a student of SNL, and that's where I thought I would be, and I did all the auditions.
Did you audition for SNL?
Twice, yeah, and didn't get it. And then Mad TV, didn't get it.
Tell me how that process is, because I love SNL stories and folklore.
So you start getting hot, like I was saying, 94, and then I did a set at a place at Ice House,
Oh.
and then the tape did good, and so then a manager saw it. So then I went to Universal, and Universal they gave me a holding deal for like this is when you get holding deals. I don't know if you guys remember that. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. So I had a holding deal for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And then you develop something, or they put you on a show, and that didn't happen. So then the manager saw the tape and said, you know, I think you could audition for SNL. I went, and I met Lorne Michaels. And
How was that meeting?
I mean, it's like meeting Zeus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you go and you go to Paramount, and like, you know, there's like a folklore that you wait.
Yeah.
Jamie, nice to meet you.
And he was very busy. It was like 1994, and I waited a few hours. And
Oh, that's
then-
when SNL was popping too.
Yeah, and then he came in. He says, "I hear you can do characters." And I said, "I think so." And he goes, "I'd like to see you in New York." And I said, "Okay." And he goes, "Nice to meet you." And then that was it.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I'm on a plane, staying in a hotel, obsessing all night, and I auditioned at a comedy club because I was back in the day where
Oh, you didn't have to go to 30 Rock in front of the camera?
no.
Oh, okay.
So now it's all sketch, but to me, being a stand-up was a viable way to get on SNL. I mean, my heroes are Eddie Murphy, you know, Adam Sandler, these different guys. A lot of people broke from stand-up,
Yeah.
but now it doesn't seem like it's as much, right? Yeah. So I thought I had a chance. So I auditioned, and it was like 8 people, and that year, Molly Shannon auditioned with me.
Wow.
And I believe she had auditioned in the club, but I don't know if she was more sketch or stand up. And it was at either comics or like the early version of Gotham. And it was like me, and I think either Sarah Silverman was already on, or it was Janine Garofalo's year. It was either Janine Garofalo was already on, and then the bottom line is I think they only picked one woman. I think it was the year Sarah Silverman got it, but I didn't see her at the audition. And Chris Farley was at my audition.
Wow.
Oh, so you met Chris Farley?
And he was the fucking sweetest.
Yeah.
He was like, good job. I don't really know his voice, but he's like, good job, man. Really good stuff, man. He was like slapping me, man. And I was like walking out of the club, and good, like really loving, beautiful guy. And I was like, and I did like 3 characters, like 1 worked. And he just said that he doesn't do enough political impressions. And I'm like, well, I could like
You didn't ask for it.
take the note, like
Yeah.
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 and then, so that was, but it was intense experience. But I didn't go to 30 Rock. But it was fascinating. And then next year, Molly Shannon didn't get it. And I remember seeing her. Then next year, I went to the same manager.
Yeah.
And I went to a place called the Groundlings.
Uh-huh.
You'll love this story. And she's like, maybe you should get in here, and you could probably work up again. So I was already getting acting, more and more acting. You know what I mean? I went Romeo and Juliet. I was in Scream, and I just got a David O. Russell movie. And I'm like, and the Groundlings are like, you have to enroll in our beginning class. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of doing stuff. And they're like, well, this is how it works. And I was like, okay. Well, so she went to a show, and she's like, these 2 guys are going to audition. And I was at a show with Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan.
Oh, Jesus.
And that night, I heard SNL go, bring those 2 guys to New York at the show.
And you just happened to be on that show, too.
No, I was just in the audience seeing
Wow.
how long the process would be. And then I got a movie, and then I was like, I just never went to the Groundlings. I mean, not that I don't want to, I just got busy. And then so here's it. Molly Shannon got it that year, the year after, and then those 2 guys got it.
Damn.
So it's like, so it shows you how you auditioned, and she got it the next year. And then it was Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan.
And Melissa's gone to producers. She auditioned for SNL
No,
too.
I tested.
Or you tested.
Did you go to New York?
Yeah, they flew me out to New
So
York.
you did it.
Yeah, and
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah?
tested. I tested on the stage.
You were there?
Wow.
Why?
Yeah.
How do I not know this?
I knew you
know
did.
this.
No, I knew
Yeah.
you did. I didn't know you did that. That's pretty much there. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
I
you're
signed
right
the
there.
contract.
Wow, that's
I
even
was like,
more.
I know how much I'm gonna make. It's like 5,000.
So you were on the Saturday Night Live stage?
On the stage, like
And
they have a tape of me somewhere in the universe of my audition.
You got to find it.
That'll be
I
good.
know, I wish I could.
And then you could post it on TBT like everybody does on Instagram. So
I got it.
the peak of their career,
Yeah, it's
like
funny.
a few
It's
years
like
ago.
there's a part of me that was like, oh, the sliding door thing. My life would be totally different if I got it, but I don't know if I was the right fit.
How nervous were you?
I was kind of nervous, but I also had because I had just come off of Frank Caliendo's show,
Oh yeah.
and then I just felt confident.
Yeah.
And then I went, and it was me, Annie Mamulo, who wrote Bridesmaids, and Bridesmaids hadn't come out yet. So this was 2008, the end of 2008. And, oh my God, why am I blanking? Kimmy Gatewood, who's on Glow.
Yeah.
And so I work at.
That's so cool.
So
though.
was Lauren watching you?
Yeah, Lauren was watching, all the producers. Lauren made me wait 4 hours.
Did he?
Yeah, you go through hair and makeup. And here's the thing, if anyone is auditioning for SNL, which I think someone had told me this, and it totally helped me, is that when you're on stage, the sound guy or the director, he goes, okay, are you ready? I'm gonna count you in. You're like, okay. And he's like, count you down from 5, 4, 3. And they point at you, and then all of a sudden the lights come on. Wow. Yeah, and it's a way to freak you out, but someone had told me that's what they do, and it's a way to startle you to see how you react.
Right.
They want to see your fight or flight response. And so I was like, psst, I got it. They're like, they're not going to laugh. They laughed. They laughed at all my impressions.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't get it.
Wow.
And this is the worst part. I was like, how the fuck did I not manifest this? My first episode would have been on my 30th birthday. And with Paul Rudd, who went to KU, and I went to KU, and I was like, dude, the universe is lining this up for me so much. I was so certain. But the good thing is I did not get it. And then I got the Living Color pilot that didn't go. But after I didn't get it, my mom died 6 months later, and I would have been a fucking nightmare. I would have been a mess if I had gotten it. So there's part of me that's like, oh, I probably would have been addicted to drugs if I had gotten it. So it's all good. And now I make videos on my Instagram.
Someone opened up quickly.
I love it.
I did.
They gave a therapy session.
Yeah.
Holy, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you really did it. I mean, I kind of did it.
You did it.
I did it, but I didn't do the. Yeah, I got flown
Well,
out.
and here's the last thing, and then I'll let it go. It's so funny. My manager at the time.
I'm fascinated by that process. That's why
Yeah.
I'm asking. Yeah.
My manager at the time, Amy Poehler was leaving. So I made a tape one afternoon. I go, boom. Because at the time, I was the main company at Acme, and I did 19 impressions because we were just constantly, I was hundreds of sketches a week. And so I made a tape. I sent it to John, my manager, and I go, hey, send this to SNL. And he's like, you can't just submit. They have to ask. So I sent it and put his name on it. And then they called him. He wasn't even going to submit me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And where is he at?
I don't know. Is he even a manager anymore?
I think so. I don't know.
And then when they flew me out, I was like, should I keep my receipts? Will they reimburse me for stuff? And he was like, oh my God, you're not going to ask them that. And then I get there and they're like, did you keep your receipts?
This guy
And I was like,
stinks.
oh, I did not. It's fine.
It's true. You really do have to take your own initiative sometimes. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's-
All the time.
Yeah, you really do.
All the time. Most reps stink.
Yeah.
Seriously. You're going to put your dreams in the hands of
Yeah.
someone else. You know what the problem with our business is?
Yeah.
Is that the risk takers are putting their futures in the hands of the risk averse.
Yeah, oh my God.
so
that is
true.
so fucking true.
Like, I don't want to hear about your kid's private school. I don't want to hear
Yeah.
about your fucking kid going to college. I want to hear about you staying up till 4 a.m. and fucking calling to get me a job.
Yeah.
And the problem is, no disrespect, but I don't even care anymore. These big conglomerates, they don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
They give a fuck about keeping the lights on. So I always tell people, if you got some horny person that is fucking Christina Walkinshaw, living and breathing, that's who you want. And your heroes that you probably have a one rep person.
Oh,
Jack
yeah.
Nicholson is with the same dude his whole career.
Oh, that's great.
You know, he had him and Wendy Jo Sperber. And seriously, it's I'm telling you, man, we're all that's a whole other podcast I could do. So
I
just
know.
remember that. You gotta because it's this is not a business that's 9 to 5. This is
Right.
not a fucking business that it's well, I called and I'm waiting for a call. No. Fuck,
Yeah.
we don't eat. You know how many managers come to me and wanted money that I get on my own, and I pay a lot of them, and then I'm like, but you didn't do anything for this.
Right.
And they go, so listen to this. You ready? They go, well, what about all the times we tried, honey, and the calls? Okay, great. That's your salary.
Yeah.
So what about the time I tested for the Three Stooges 4 times and didn't get it and drove to San Diego? I didn't get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about all the auditions? What about the time? It's like they expect to get paid, but you don't get paid.
I know. I do. I feel like the only time that I get approached by managers and agents is when I'm already getting work.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
oh,
when I need
yeah.
work. Totally.
It's never been when I need work.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. We go back to the risk takers for a minute. Do you not feel right now they're not even really even looking for like raw talent? They're just looking for whoever has the most like hits on the internet and followers?
Yeah.
I don't know enough.
I don't think that's
but-
a good formula. I feel like a cat video has like 5 million likes, but it doesn't mean a cat can do stand up.
Right.
But here's the thing: is
Yes.
what you can do is just one little piece of the pie.
Mm-hmm.
It really is about commerce. So you have to build your own brand. You know what I mean? It's just because you can kill a room, slaughter a room, unless somebody knows how to monetize that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you gotta. That's the way the business is now.
I know.
I mean, listen. I mean, it's happening to all of us.
Kind of makes me sad because I feel like the more I write, the more I need off the internet sometimes, like for my mental stability.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh, I'm not going to get any, like I'm getting less work done than I did 5 years ago because I'm so glued to this stuff.
But there's people that were like I'll take Bert Kreischer for example, who's been just killing it for years, and
Yes.
finally the internet propelled him to this
Yeah.
status where he's selling out everywhere. But
Yes.
he can back it up because he's a stand-up. He worked his ass off. But there are like YouTube sensations that are selling tickets.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing on stage.
Yeah.
And I actually will look for them on schedules and contact a club. I was like, can I feature for that guy? And then I'll blow them out of the water because I know what I'm doing. And they're like, we got to have this guy back. I just know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
He sold the tickets, but I want to make myself look good.
Chad, that is a really good plan, and I'm sad you just shared that with the world.
Oh shit!
No,
I thought we were just hanging out.
God, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's a whole different world, you know.
I
So you
know.
just gotta, how long you been doing it?
I've been doing comedy for 20 years, at least.
20 years.
Yeah, mostly in Canada.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I did get offered a reality show off my blog, and then I still had this dream of being a writer, and so I took this other deal, which I just never panned out into anything, which happens a lot in Canada. But also, it's true. Like that was my little Tinder blog. All of a sudden, my blog had 40,000 readers. And 40,000 people that are reading 2,000 words a sitting from me.
Well, you
And
had
I did it,
that one story that went viral at Yuck Yucks.
Oh yeah, my Casino Niagara thing from 2013.
Yeah, because I remember getting that from somebody. Like, dude, read that. I think
When
Louis,
I got heckled, show us your tits, show us your bush, but then I got fired.
yeah, I think Louis C.K.
got
tweeted
fired.
it.
Oh, everybody did. Oh yeah, no, it was a big story. It was it was one of those things I like it when people are like, go do one of those viral video thingies, but it's like you don't know what's gonna go viral. When I wrote that blog, I was just trying to be like, oh, I'm not performing at this club anymore. It started out as like a Facebook status. But then my boss at Yuck Yucks was like, you can't be like talking about the club like that on social media. And I was like, well, I'll explain what happened and then you'll be off the hook and I'll just write a little blog. I haven't written a blog in a long time. It'll be good for me. And then he goes, great, write your little blog thingy. And then all of a sudden it was like, it went viral like an hour into my serving shift. And the Globe and Mail's calling me. I'm on every single TV show.
Yeah.
It was a crazy,
What
but that
was
was
the blog?
2013. That was a good example. Like that was my first lesson in how the internet works.
Well, explain what it
But
was
now-
for Jamie and everyone that's listening.
Okay, so I was middling, as we call it in Canada, featuring at Casino Niagara.
We
at
call
Yuck
it
Yucks.
there, here too.
We call it middling, right? Yeah, we call it feature.
I call it $600.
Sadly, it was a $500 weekend for me, Canadian dollars, which is like $3.90 for you guys. Okay, but anyways, so you know how casinos are. They often give free tickets to, drunk people in the casino that have just lost a bunch of cash. Like you're not getting like the best audiences anyway sometimes in casinos, but whatever. I don't care. I do comedy or whatever. But also this club had been really weird to comics and they'd banned a bunch of comics and they don't let you like stay overnight or gamble. They don't want you to talk back to hecklers from the stage. Like there's so many rules at this club. Anyways, so I'm on stage, I'm doing my middle thing, and then like partway into my set, these guys start like pounding their fists on the table, going, show us your tits, show us your tits, show. And it was like 10 of them, like, show us your tits, show us your tits. So, I can't even say that. That's like, show us your tits, show us your tits. They must have gone to like, a really good speech therapy school. Anyways, and then of course we're not really supposed to talk about to the hecklers, but I'm like, oh, didn't you hear like my size H joke? I don't have any boobs. Anyways, whatever. I move on. Then like later in my set, they're like, show us your bush, show us your bush, show us your bush, show us your bush, like over and over again.
Holy shit.
Psychos.
They were psycho. There was like just 10 broy, very broy, drunk guys that just, and then I was like, oh, didn't you hear my waxing jokes? Anyways, but I just fucking do my set. And I don't even, I'm just like, well, that was sometimes you have a bad set. And I don't go, oh, I just had the worst set on the internet. It was 2013. I'd maybe like text a friend and be like, ugh, whatever. So anyways, I get off stage and then the headliner, Darren Frost, is like, oh my God. I went up to the manager and I tried to get her to do something and she wouldn't do anything. She just let those guys keep being that drunk and do that to you. That was disgusting, Christina. And I was like, I had no idea that all this ruckus was happening off stage. And then that manager was just like, no, she's fine. And so anyways, the woman did get really bitchy with me. And then I had like a beer after my set. And she goes, just so you know, tomorrow night when you come back here, don't come waltzing in the green room with a beer. And I was like, oh, just so you know, when like a dozen men are shouting, show us your tits and show us your bush, you might want to tell that table to shut up. And then I burst out crying because I'm so bad at confrontation.
Yeah.
And then she goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought you liked it. And I was like, of course I didn't like it. I enjoyed it, but I didn't like it. So now I'm like bawling in this green room. Yeah. And then there's like kind of back and forth the next day with my agent and the comedy club manager. And she did admit that she was wrong. She was like, I'm sorry. I'm still trying to figure out what comedians like and what they don't like.
What comedian?
I know. So I know. So
The fact that they said you had a bush is a little aggressive.
Not if you knew me.
She's from Regina. No one will get
I
that.
skipped some showers. Okay, so so anyways, I go back and I've still finished my weekend. It's still a $500 weekend for me, so I'm gonna do it. And I hate saying this, but I swear to God, for the rest of the weekend, I killed or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I just thought it was water under the bridge. So when you work for Yuck Yucks, it's like I just saw you look down at the bush, like you thought my pants were gonna pop up. Like, when you just look down, like, oh, maybe you could see it. That's just a denim dick. That's something else there. That's gonna happen.
Denim dick.
That's my first joke of all time. Remember
That's
that
the
one?
name of the podcast.
The
Denim
Denim
Dick.
Dick.
Denim
Okay.
dick.
Yeah.
Denim Bush. Okay. So anyways, finish the weekend. Then we're all in a rotation at Yuck Yucks, and we kind of get the same clubs once every 3 or 4 months, right? So I get rebooked for Niagara, and then I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna be the first time I go back down there since that weekend. And then then I get an email from my agent like a week before the week, and she goes, oh, we have to pull you from Niagara. They don't want you back there. And I'm like, oh, just to be because of you and Darren Frost and the unruly audience. And I go, just to be clear, I'm getting fired because I got heckled, shows your tits, shows your bush. And I said something to the manager afterwards. And she goes, yes. And I go, well, I guess that's what I get for standing up for myself, which I never do. I never stand up for myself. And then, yeah, so then it started out a little Facebook update. Like, I'm not playing Niagara anymore because I got heckled. But even just to show how much I can push things down, like in that moment, the night it happened, I was like, oh, well, it was a shitty show. Sometimes in stand-up, you get a shitty show. And you get a bad audience. Who cares? Move on. Keep going. Keep writing. I don't give a shit. But once I got fired, once I'm losing money now from that experience, then I was like, I text Darren and I'm like, I should say something, right? And he's like, of course you should say something. And then, yeah, I wrote that blog. And then it just ended up going super viral because it was kind of the first of us kind of, identifying how sometimes, and I wouldn't even say just female comics, but I would say all comics get treated shitty sometimes by club owners. We don't get paid enough. They don't give a shit about when you're on stage. Like, I knew other male comics have been banned from that club too for lesser crimes or for like lesser, I don't know. Nobody was really doing anything that wrong in that club, excepting maybe one comic who got drunk and told off a blackjack dealer. But yeah, anyways, I just kind of, it was a good lesson in how the internet worked. And I did not know that blog was going to go viral. I thought maybe a couple friends would read it.
Yeah, when Louis was on Twitter, I remember him tweeting it out saying, like, this is uncalled for, it's ridiculous. That's how I saw it.
People were mad that the club owner take the side of the drunk audience members.
Yeah.
He was saying that
Over
because you
the
didn't show
comedian.
your bush. He's like, this is ridiculous. Why didn't she show her tits?
There was
Whoa.
even Joy Behar. I got all these weird messages that ended up in that other box on Facebook, and I didn't find them till like a year and a half later. But even Joy Behar wanted to talk to me.
Wow.
I had no idea, and I think people were probably calling the Yuck Yucks office, and they were like, like he just wanted the press to go away. He was like, I can't afford to lose that club. That club pays their bills on time.
Yeah.
Which is true. They're a casino, and he runs a franchise, and he doesn't really care about the comedians. He cares about money, and those casino clubs, they can afford to pay franchise fees. And I think by law in Ontario, you need like X amount of activities that are not gambling related in order to stay open as like a facility, as a casino. So there's so much, but there's so many politics to that day, that story was, and it was just like, yeah, a crazy, like, perfect storm of the internet just starting to kind of, as you said, propel people's stories. And that was 2013.
Jamie, did you ever get fired from a club? No?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I'm trying to think. I've had a lot of weird gigs, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
What was like the weirdest one that sticks out?
You've had a lot of weird ones, but I am certain.
I'll let you talk, and then I'll give my opinion.
But I'm almost certain that we almost got murdered in Tampa, but whatever.
Why? What happened?
Were you at Side Splitters or Improv?
Side Splitters, and we went to go to that taco truck.
Yeah.
And we went to the original one in a bad part of town. So we call a lift afterwards, and then we cross that street that's like a PCH highway to go to that gas station. And then this guy just like in a hoodie just like came out of the bushes towards us. And I go, oh, and I just ran into traffic. Remember that?
Yeah, kind of.
And then the Lyft driver was like, he goes, oh, be careful. People have been getting murdered around here. And then I was like, oh. And then I told people the next year when we were there, I was like, oh, we went to the taco truck and we almost got murdered. And they're like, oh, there was a serial killer. They caught him. And then they show the picture and he's wearing a fucking hoodie. And I think it's the same guy.
Oh my
That was real?
Yes.
I kind of forgot
You
that.
saw the serial killer?
Yes.
You guys are lucky to be alive.
You guys could
You see a lot of weird. You say a lot of weird things happen to me.
Every time I'm with you, something weird happens, and you
Yeah.
just kind of like float above it, like just do-do-do.
Yeah, I am lucky. Like I get
Yes.
away. I would say one of my weirdest shows actually was in Canada.
Ooh, tell us more.
So there's Yuck Yucks. So Yuck Yucks is interesting because it's a whole program. So they have 100 clubs, maybe 50.
I have like 10.
But really?
Shrinking every year, dude.
But
Oh, yeah.
they do, like, if you're a comic under their
Yeah.
banner, you go. So it's kind of cool. So you can't even pick. I can't pick my openers, right? So they have to, like, which is, good for up and coming comics, right? So I was doing a show at one of the Yuck Yucks, and there was this huge. I did some joke. I don't even remember the fucking joke, and it was about Canada. And this huge black guy and this very buxom white girl were there. And he said, fuck you, man. Something like in a weird accent. He's like, fuck you, man. That's not how we do in Canada. I was saying, like, I did a joke, some joke about Canada. I'm like, you guys are happy if I balled up tinfoil and put 2 sticks, you guys are like, hockey, right? Whatever. I did a hockey joke. Wasn't good. And the guy got really mad. And he's like, fuck you, man. And I'm like, dude, where are you from? He's like, Bahamas. And I was like, said something else. And I was like, well, then what are you even talking about? Are you the captain of the bobsled team? Like, what are you fucking angry about? He's like, fuck you, man. And he came, actually 2 of my weirdest gigs ever in Canada. He came at the stage.
Oh, my God.
And so then these guys came down and these huge other Canadians stopped him. And they were like, he's like, fuck you, man. I fuck you up, man. So then he sits back down, and the girl's there. And I'm like, sir, is she on a lunch break? I'll wait for you guys to get that. The white girl. And he goes, what? And I go, shouldn't she be out there making you money? Fuck you, man. And then he fucking, this is when you could do these jokes, right? So then he ran at the stage. Again, I go,
Holy
you're
shit.
losing money, Captain. So like this. Fuck you, man. He ran at the stage again. The 2 bouncers blocked him off, right? So I was like, so he said something else. So I said, do not kick him out. Do not kick him out. And of course, Canadians were like, sorry, don't rush him. Sorry. So long story short is I made him stay, and bouncers were around him watching him. And I said, he's not leaving till he laughs at a joke. He never laughed at a joke. I said, do not leave this place. And I said, come up. And I had 3 bouncers, 4, whatever. And he went up and I said, let's hug it out. And he fucking hugged me. And he's like, hugged me hard. And I just took the hug. And I'm like, come on, man. It's just a fucking joke. And the bouncers were there, like holding him as he's hugging me to make sure he didn't suffocate me. And then fucking he let me go. And that was it. But that was one of the weirdest shows. That was he rushed his stage twice.
Oh my God.
Damn.
Yes, and that was probably 08.
What city? Do you remember what city?
I want to say it was near Vancouver, but I also had a crazy gig in Vancouver where the owner was this big, like, he was he's a Canadian, but he had like Cherokee, heritage, and some guy rushed or said some shit, and he fucking just pushed the guy. And the guy, he protected the comics like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah, I bet that was at the Plaza of
amazing.
Nations. 'Cause
Maybe.
That guy was very
And I was like, but the people got fucking drunk, and there was a fight.
Oh, yeah.
It was the only show I've ever seen a fight break out in the crowd. You can find it on YouTube. A fight broke out. I commentate on the fight for 6 minutes, and then I go back to the show.
Dude, a fight broke out at
And
the
I couldn't
casino
believe it.
one, the Connecticut
one?
casino, and that female boxer.
Oh,
lesbian,
yeah.
and I was like,
Yeah, you want to
Yeah.
talk about a guy said, what happened? A guy said some shit, and this MMA fighter jacked him up
yeah,
at the show.
Yeah.
Like, clocked him.
a female,
Yeah.
a female clocked this dude. It was awesome.
That's great.
In,
Yeah.
in the audience while you were on stage?
I think it was at the meet and greet.
Yeah, it was
No, it was during the show.
It was during the show, and then it came out during the meet and greet, and I'm still like, want to buy Jamie's DVD? Want to buy Jamie's book?
So, yeah, I mean, it was definitely.
And that was a casino gig.
Yeah.
That's a Mohegan, but they've
Yeah,
gotten
they
a
got
lot
great.
more chill now.
Yeah.
But they definitely.
That was kind of fun.
Sometimes you get some drunk people at the casinos. What can you do?
My worst
the beginning.
gig was with Ben Glebe in 2007. Do you remember that old comedy club, Deja Vu? It was like in Missouri or somewhere.
No.
Wow.
It might have been in Kansas. I don't remember the hell it was. It was after a show. We were doing the meet and greet, and this girl came over, and she was like flirting with us, and she was drunk. And this drunk guy comes over. He's like, "Don't talk to my girl." I go, "Well, we're just trying to sell our CDs. We're just. What are we supposed to do?" He's like, "Don't even look at her." I'm like, "Come on, man." And he grabbed Ben, and I got between him like as a friend, and he just looked at me. and goes, "Bam!" Punches me.
Oh no.
And my eye there's a photo on my Facebook, but my eye swelled up like it looked like a vagina. It was like
shit.
so I had to perform with sunglasses on all weekend, and I had to drive 8 hours back to Cleveland with ice in my eye. It was the scariest thing ever.
no.
Yeah.
Wait, have you ever been fired from a comedy club before?
No, I've never been fired from a comedy club. Just serving
I'm
jobs.
the only weirdo. Oh, yeah.
Well, you know why? We shave.
Fuck Jamie Kennedy! Fuck yeah!
I just don't understand. If I get rid of it all, what am I going to twirl while I watch TV late at night?
Oh, twirl.
You know
It's long enough to
what? Paul
twirl.
knows. Paul knows I like to make little knickies late at night.
Oh Jesus.
Look, I got in trouble at a I've been in comedy clubs though, but in the last couple years, I believe that I look at comedy like a basketball game, and you will relate. Because shooters shoot.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, I did a show, a big show the other night, and I was like 50% worked. And it's like sometimes I think people have to go into that mindset of sometimes it's going to work
Yeah.
and sometimes it's not. And you have to have the same way. And I mean, we had crazy gigs, and remember that Minnesota casino? And they were a beautiful casino,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they were wildly drunk.
Oh my God, I have that picture of you with those two guys lifting
Yeah,
you up.
lifting me
They
up,
spread his
grabbing
legs and
me,
lifted him
spreading my
up.
legs, and I was doing a meet and
And-
greet, and I just went with it.
And instead of helping, I just took pictures, and I was laughing so hard I started crying
Yeah.
because you were so uncomfortable.
But like people touch me. I mean, if you really want to talk about it, I mean, obviously I'm not the victim, but she could see it. I'm not the victim because it doesn't bother me. But people grab me,
They grab his dick all the
poke
time.
me, grab my dick,
Wow.
grab my
Hey,
neck.
me too, you.
Well, I mean, you can't say it, but fuck yeah, I get old bags hit on me. Say like, yeah, I'm gonna suck you off, like all type. Yeah, so I mean, like there was a lady. We were at my San Jose gig, and this older lady, she's about 83 years old. She was like a Slim Jim. You ever see
Yeah.
people that never knew what sunscreen was? And Slim Jim, piece of bark, right? And like the only thing nice was her nails. I said, you have beautiful nails. And she's like, thank you. They look great wrapped around your cock. I'm not kidding you. That was the voice.
Yeah.
And I was like in the fucking line
Yeah.
for meet and greet, and I was like, cash or Venmo. Like I didn't even. So, but the only time it's annoying is when you get drunk. I hate to say this. Drunk white women.
Oh,
Oh,
no, I
yeah.
know.
Drunk-
Trust me.
Am I allowed to say that? Because Christina might go.
No, not at all.
Drunk white women.
Trust
She's
me,
not- she's
I
not
know
social
that there's.
Drunk white.
I've done enough comedy shows that I know, like a drunk bachelorette party can be the biggest nightmare of the show.
Oh yeah.
But if I hear this one more time, like, I was helping.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I was helping the show. That's true. But to be fair, even me, like in that moment, I didn't give a shit. Casino Niagara. I only cared 3 months later when I lost money. And
No,
the
that's
future.
true. But
But in
you
the
got
moment-
screwed over.
I know. In the moment, when people are like, shows your tits, shows your bush, I'm just like, ugh. At the time, I did have waxing jokes, and I had got a Brazilian wax. I was like, they clearly were not listening. Yeah, but I was like, I didn't even care. I was like, sometimes you have a bad show, you just keep going. Who cares?
But let's ask this question, because you do feel like, do you still feel like comedy is a man's club?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so did you watch Nanette?
I did. I saw it.
I watched it right away,
Yeah. Oh, I think I saw it, and like within the first week it came out.
and it was incredible.
Yes. Well, here's the thing I really related to.
I
in it.
think it was incredible because it was a totally unique voice.
Yes,
It was a great TED Talk.
It was-
No, it was great. People are being so dramatic of what, like, to fit it in. It fucking was awesome.
Yeah.
It was art. I mean,
No. It's just subjective.
But yeah, it is. But dude, she made jokes about art history, so I like was educated and I laughed. So I loved it. But there's people that are mixed on it. But I loved it. But so my question is, I feel like comedy is probably like some of my heroes were fucking. One of my biggest comedy heroes is Joan Rivers.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Joan Rivers, okay, Gilda Radner,
Yes.
Lily Tomlin.
Yes.
So I feel like I had heroes that were men and women
Oh, me
growing
too.
up. Goldie Hawn, laughing.
Yeah.
Oh, for me,
The lady with the purse.
my hero for sure, and I feel like at least she felt like I've met her maybe a couple times, but Wendy Liebman.
Oh,
yeah,
Wendy's
Wendy
great.
Liebman's
My
a
favorite.
legend.
The first time I saw her on TV, I was like, oh my god, I want to do that. Like she's amazing.
I love Paula Poundstone.
Yeah, Paula.
Yeah,
Paula's
obsessed with Paula
amazing.
Poundstone.
Amazing.
Who was the girl who played Mama from Mama's Family?
Vicki
Vicki
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
She's
legend.
Yeah.
So I feel like I don't know. I just do see these arguments online, and it's like I don't know. Like I don't know. I get even trouble talking about it. But
Yeah.
can you open up? I mean, it's like comedy is but I don't know if I can say it. I'm a white guy in my 40s.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Here's one thing I do
but
feel bad.
I do. If you kill, you kill, and
Yeah.
the club will look at you.
Oh, totally. And here's the one thing I feel bad about, and I feel like maybe Melissa, you've gone through this too.
But obviously
I
there
do
are
feel bad
moments.
when somebody is trying to fight, like they want to start the online drama, which I'm not into, despite my one blog. But I feel bad when there's a lineup. Okay, it's all males, but then the booker's like, no. I tried to get like
Oh, yeah.
10 different girls, and they just weren't available.
I hate-
So
I
it's
hate
That is
unintentional.
true.
That
That is
happens
true.
to me.
Sometimes
Sometimes.
it's totally
I hate that.
unintentional, and you've tried, you've reached out to people, and you've tried to make a diverse lineup, but it's like, oh, they were just a hot commodity, and I couldn't get them.
And someone, I don't know who the fuck said this, but I think it's really good. It's like when we were starting out, women. You
Ed
had
Begley
to be-
Jr..
Yeah. you had to be good. If you were a female comic, you had to be good. And now it's like men, especially white men, you have to be good. It's
Yeah.
like you can't just skate by. They kind of just
Yeah.
accepted you. I don't know. Does that make sense?
That made no sense. Let's go
Yeah.
back. Let's repeat
I don't
that.
even know what I'm saying.
What
I
is
feel
that?
like, okay, here's what happened.
You have to
Maybe
be good, and if you're a white guy, you have to be good.
Here's what-
Yeah,
But you got accepted. But you have to be good.
Before you didn't have to be as good.
Yeah.
For
you
to
didn't-
be who?
To just to be on a show.
To
Let's
be
say-
a comedian?
Yes, like when I started in 2002, I felt like there'd be more opportunities for men and women. If you were that one woman on the lineup, you had to be fucking good.
Oh, it's hard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
now,
yeah,
if you're like the white man on the lineup, you got to be fucking good.
Oh.
And now it's kind of changed that more women don't have to be.
I don't know about
Like
that.
I do. I think we're finally getting more opportunities, and now it's like that one white man. You got to be fucking good.
I
'cause
agree with that.
they're-
Here's
Yeah.
the other thing I think.
Really? You don't? You think you? I think everyone has to be good.
Well,
Everybody should. You're right. We should have
Everyone
we
should
should have a
be.
new reality show like The Voice, only for comics. So you're just like listening to jokes and material,
Yes.
and it doesn't matter how old they are, what they look like. They have to be funny. The jokes have to be funny.
It's a great idea.
That is a great idea.
That's a great fucking
pretty good.
idea.
You can be the host.
That's
We'll be.
Yes.
We'll produce it. Let's do this.
But-
Let's make a show.
But like, you have to be. I forgot what I was gonna say, but you have.
Well, here's the thing I think that was happening in the late '90s when women were so-called like not funny or whatever. I think
When
there
was that happening? Did that happen?
Yeah.
Am I an idiot?
I read
Educate.
the Vanity Fair
the
article.
Vanity Fair
What was
article
the Vanity
why
Fair
women
article?
aren't funny.
Why women aren't
Who
funny.
did that?
Me and Melissa were literally pitching a TV show to like 7
Yes.
different networks the week that article
Yes.
came out. Why women aren't funny.
No,
Um,
I am ignorant. I do hear
Christopher
people.
Hitchens, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
Christopher
But
Hitchens,
okay,
yeah.
go ahead.
But here's what I think might have happened, and I don't know anything. You guys know I'm just a fucking normal bitch that drinks half a bottle of wine by myself every night with a block of cheese.
No, that's an overshare.
I know. Well, hey, at least I'm not finishing the bottle anymore. I've really matured. Okay, here's what I think. Here's what I think happened in the late '90s. Let's say I'm doing these shows at Yuck Yucks when I'm still just doing like new talent night. There's 13 comics on the lineup. There's 1 female. Okay, so then you see 14 men, and of them, like 5 make you laugh. That's still less than 50%.
Yeah.
If that one woman didn't make you laugh, women aren't funny.
Wow, that's a great. That's a
Yes.
great. You know
That's
what? That's
true.
an education right
That's
there.
true.
I'll take that.
Boom.
Cute.
That's
Oh,
that's
I got a
that's-
point from Jamie Kennedy.
That's
I'm very
a
excited.
really good. See, I wish people would
time.
make.
Oh yeah.
You gotta go.
Why are you ruining it? Wait.
Oh, sorry.
I would really see. I wish people would make points like that succinctly and smartly like that because that was really good.
But
But do you like the way I
was it?
do you like?
No,
do you- but,
oh my god, she's so much like me.
but do you like the way I?
She's like, so wait, if I saw her on the street and I saw her on the street, I'd be like, so I hope you're having a good day. It's my day, shit.
What about me?
And what about my day? No, but you made that was a simple.
But
I
on the-
wasn't talking to you.
on the
Go
flip
ahead,
side of that,
sorry.
though, I remember this 2 years
That's
ago.
a good point.
I followed Jessica Curson in New York at Gotham at the Comedy Juice show.
She's
She
hilarious.
murdered
Oh, she's
the
so
room.
funny, yeah.
And the MC comes up and goes, "Next comic, give it up for Chad Zumock." There's still, so she buried me. But I tweeted her. I go, one comic to another, you killed. I didn't think of her as a female comic.
Yeah.
I said she was a comic. She just killed. And I didn't bring in gender or race. She just destroyed the room, and that's how I looked at her as a comic. I didn't say female. I didn't say white female. I just said comic.
Yeah, like I feel like that we gotta get away from all of that. But I
Yeah.
am not that. So I can't really talk. My opinion has been out there for so long of what my skin suit is.
Yeah.
That I really can't talk.
Right.
So I just, but I do believe Chad, that funny is funny, and I've seen women be hilarious. But I'm in the artist game, so I just look at who's funny.
Yeah.
But I'm not struggling as a woman, as a female, as a minority. So it's different.
Yeah.
Jamie, you've done everything you can do in the business.
I think I have. I
really
really do
have.
believe
Yeah,
that.
you've-
Yes.
You've done some great work. Where can people find each and one of you? Plug your shit.
Is it over?
Well, then you have to go.
Oh, I do have to go.
Yeah.
I'll start with the females, and I'll get to me.
Oh, look at that chivalry on the podcast.
enough stage time.
Go first, Christina.
We'll start with the openers.
So you can find, yeah, exactly.
Damn, I can't even be
We'll
mad.
start with Nair.
I am the host now. Yeah, so you can find me at Walkin' Sauce on everything on Twitter, on Instagram, and of course I have a podcast called Jill and Off here
On this
the
network.
Comedy Pop-Up Network here, and Paul also produces Jill and Off, and then I'm always working on bigger projects, but I need more self-discipline. So anyway, but for now, enjoy whatever.
Where can
my
people
Instagram.
mail you wine?
Right here to the studio, 3435 West 8th Street, Los Angeles, California. Paul, what's the zip code?
Wow, we get murdered now.
900.
Dude, if you got to tell me if somebody mails you wine. You got to tell me.
That would be amazing. Oh, no, we did. We actually got sponsored by beers now. We have people sending us beer.
Okay.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's good.
You can find me on Melissa McQueen Comedy
And Melissa
on
McQueen,
Instagram.
can I have a moment with you?
Yeah.
And I've said this to you privately. You're
Yeah.
one of the funniest people I ever met in my life.
Yeah.
No, you really are. She's legit. I've said that
So
to you.
nice.
But I want to publicly put it on,
Yeah,
on the
Publicly
internet.
put it out there.
Aww.
And a unique.
Yeah.
Unique.
I always wish I had heat in this business because I want to discover you. But there's nothing I can do.
That's so nice.
There's nothing I
Thanks,
can do for you.
Chad.
Except say this. Maybe this will help.
And you can mail me your sequins.
Yeah. Melissa, your sequence. I made it sound like Chad has sequence. Okay.
I'm at the Jamie Kennedy, Jamie Kennedy.
And you can always find me at dancook.com for tour schedule. No, I'm just kidding. But I want to thank you guys for coming on. I knew this would be a fun hang, and I really appreciate you guys taking time out.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
You-
All right,
Thanks
that's
for
a
having us,
wrap.
Sadly.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for
on.
listening. 5-star review, bitches.